around September and August, someone in the family must die. Like someone did die.
And isithwalo senyoka isihambiselana nokuthi people, you are sacrificing your family members.
And then I started saying, God, this woman is here. How are we going to defeat her? And then all of a sudden her eyes opened wide, and then she said, what did you say? Then I said, God, this woman is here. And then she started saying, stop, don't use that word. For those of you who do not know, I'm actually half Mozambican and half South African. My mom, she's South African, and my dad was a Mozambican. So I have family in Mozambique, and one of my aunts, she's the one who actually started doing these things, zoguloya. So initially we didn't understand what was happening, but then eventually when I got my salvation, when God was leading me, I asked God, please explain ukuthi u-aunty wami uyaloya na, or if it's something that maybe it's happening and it's not because of her, because I didn't want to continue hating her or being scared of her, only to find that she doesn't know anything about uguloya. So this is something that I always teach, that when you go to your sangoma, they'll say good to your neighbor or your friend from work or someone is bewitching you, and only to find that that's a lie. So I didn't want to go through the same thing. And I asked God, who's the better one to ask when you have such questions except God? I remember praying, saying, God, I don't understand this part of uguloya. What is this uguloya? Does it even happen? And please show me if it's true that to Antoine we are lawyer. Guys, that day I didn't sleep at night. And what happened is I was sleeping. So I could see, okay, I'm going to sleep. I'm preparing to sleep. And then after I just slept. And then all of a sudden I started hearing my daughter saying, Mama, uno auntie. And then initially I thought, okay, well, auntie for her, it's actually my cousin. And then I didn't understand, because I could see I am half asleep and half I could actually understand what she was saying. And she was deep sleeping. And I started checking, thinking, okay, what is she talking about? Maybe she's just dreaming. And all of a sudden, I slept as well. And then as I closed my eyes, guys, I don't know if it's after 5 minutes or after an hour, I started seeing my spirit leaving my body. And then I was like, yo, what's going on? This has never happened before. What's going on? And then I didn't know such things happen. Like when you go to YouTube and just type out of body experience, you will see a lot of videos of people who actually had an out-of-body experience, but then some of them actually went to heaven and God showed them something, or Jesus, or they saw Jesus, or maybe someone died maybe during operation at the hospital and their spirit left for some time and then it came back again. And then with me, I didn't even know such existed. And then I started saying to myself, okay, I'm not sleeping, I can see this is happening for real. What is going on? And then I could actually see my body lying there as if I am dead. And okay, most testimonies of these out-of-body experience are actually happening, and the person will be like maybe in a temporary stage of dying. But with me, I could see, man, I am dead. It's just that my body is not alive because my spirit has left my body. And then I started watching. I'm like, okay, what's going on and what's going to happen? Let me just watch and see what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, I saw my body crossing the wall. And then it went to the bathroom. And then from the bathroom, it crossed another wall. It went outside to the room that I used as a consulting when I was a Sangoma. And immediately I started saying, okay, so this other Lindy who's leaving my body, who looks exactly like me, is actually going through walls and going to that room. What's going on? And then immediately I was in that room and I could still sense that my body is still in the house sleeping, and I could even see my slippers on the floor. But then at the same time, my body was in that room. And when I got to that room, I saw the same aunt. And then I'm like, what is going on? Why are you here? Because in the family, we didn't really like that aunt. We didn't even want that aunt to come to our family, because every time she came, something bad would happen. Like I remember 3 or 4 cases where she actually went to a family member and something bad happened. So the same night that aunt comes, the following day, something bad would happen. So for example, she went to my cousin's house and one of my cousins got burned. And then she came to my parents' house. My brother actually got hit by a brick on his head and he had to go through surgery. My dad and even some of my aunties will actually say that she went for an occult somewhere in some country. I don't know if it's in Mozambique or another country where she got powers to be rich. And guys, let me tell you, this is a woman in Mozambique. You know how people in Mozambique, they're poor, most of them, they are poor. So in Mozambique, it's either you're rich or you are poor. And when you are poor, you're not really doing that well. So with this aunt, she went from being poor to being rich. She had cars, she had cows, she had a nice house in Mozambique, and she was doing well. Even her kids had nice life, guys, nice life. And then we could see that, okay, this thing is working for her. But then I didn't understand much about this occult thing. That's why I had to ask God to explain if she is really bewitching the family. And around September and August, someone in the family must die. Like someone did die. So,
and isithwalo senyoka isihambiselana nokuthi people, you are sacrificing your family members. You are sacrificing people within your family. The sacrifice straight up there. You're not even going to start with a chicken, a goat, a cow. There, straight up, you are giving somebody in your family. It must be somebody that you love. It must be somebody that is very dear to you. Somebody that you are sacrificing. The pain that you are going to feel if that person leaves.
So that pain brings money.
That pain will give you money. This is a different type of snake. This is witchcraft type of snake. This is ukutwala type of snake. This is you giving sacrifices, feeding this snake, your family members, in order for you to gain riches, money, build businesses, become strong. Do you understand?
So this man comes from you. This man used to bother me. I couldn't sleep because every time I would sleep, I start going to a nachmeri. I don't know if you know a nachmeri where you just dreaming. You try to pray. You try to speak, but you cannot say anything. And we were so scared. And then me seeing her in that room, I started asking, okay, why are you here? Why are you here? Are you here to take me? I mean, we just lost my dad. You cannot take me also this year. I still want to live and I am young. And then she said, no, don't worry. I'm not here to take you. I'm actually not here to kill anyone. It's not time yet. And then I said, why are you here? And then she said, I'm here to fetch money. What money? How do you fetch money? And then she said, you know what, my baby, just go and sleep, because if I were to turn into a snake, you'll be scared. So just go back to where you come from to sleep, and then I'll continue taking the money. Then thinking about it, around that time, we were so broke, guys. So when they say these spirits, sometimes they just come to take your money. I believe that happens because we were so broke. I mean, how do you explain being broke and not paying bond, having all the salary that you have, and also having money from SANGOMA? But I was broke around that time. And not just me, even my brothers, we were also broke. Like, we would get paid and then all of a sudden we didn't have money. And then I'm like, so is that the reason why we don't have money? And then she said, no, just go and sleep. And that time I'm like, no, I'm not going to sleep. And this was before I actually banned my SANGOMA ornaments and my SANGOMA things that I used to do. And then I started looking in that room thinking, okay, my Kobela said, if something or these spirits come, I must just use this type of muti and this type of muti. I went to that muti and then took one. And then I said, I'm going to use this to chase you. And then she laughed and said, you're going to use this powder from me. I mean, I use serious stuff. This thing doesn't work. Nothing in this room works to defeat me. Just go and sleep. I do not want to do anything bad to you. And then I started wondering what to do, scared. And then I started calling my brother and I said, Buti, waza uantulana. And then he couldn't hear me. And then I started saying, God, this woman is here. How are you going to defeat her? And then all of a sudden her eyes opened wide. And then she said, what did you say? Then I said, God, this woman is here. And then she started saying, stop, don't use that word. Don't use any Bible verses. Then I said, oh, so you're scared of the Bible. You're scared of the scriptures. And then I started saying, according to what? I started quoting scriptures saying, according to the word, I now belong to the kingdom of God. Nothing shall help me. The spirits, you will command the spirits to come and help me. And then I started saying any random words from the Bible. And then the more I said this, these words, the more I talked about God, the more I started quoting the scriptures. She went back, like the room opened, and then she went back, and then she was in the pavement where we used to park our car, just between my room and the house. And then she started saying, no, stop saying those words. I promise I won't come to this house again to take money. I promise I won't be with you. I promise now no one will die again in this family around September. I promise I won't sacrifice any family member. And then I said, oh, so you're the one who's been killing people every year. And then I started saying the word. I started praying, and then my praying started going to a higher level where I could pray in spirit. I wasn't praying in tongues, guys. I was praying normally, but then I could see that the spirit was actually helping me to pray. And the more I prayed, it felt like I was hitting her with the bullets. And then at some point she just fell, and then I could see her falling. And then I'm like, no. I do not want you inside the house. I want you outside the yard. I started praying again, and then something happened. A short man, guys. And now this man was familiar. While growing up, ever since maybe from the age of 11 up until maybe I was around 20 or 20, I used to struggle to sleep in my room alone because of that man. Then I said, what? So this man comes from you. This man used to bother me. I couldn't sleep because every time I would sleep, I start going to a nachmeri. I don't know if you know a nachmeri, where you just dreaming, you try to pray, you try to speak, but you cannot say anything. And I would go into that, and then I would see this man trying to climb in the window, coming to my bedroom. So I was so scared of that man. And this man was short. He would even throw the jacket first, and then after he would try to come to the house. Then I said, even this man, my whole life I've been struggling because of this man. And there was a point when it got so worse, this man would come almost every day, and I would feel like this man wants to rape me, and I would cry, and then I would go. There was a period, I think a week or two, where I would sleep in my parents' bedroom, right in the middle of them, and I would even see that man saying, I'm waiting for you, you will end up going to that room. And my father would go to different sangomas trying for this man not to come to my room. And then immediately I'm like, this man actually comes from you. And this man started speaking, saying, I told you, let's leave these kids because they just lost their dad. But because you are greedy, you had to come and take money, and money that they don't even have now because they just spend money on the funeral. You are so greedy. And then this man ran out of the yard. And then I started getting angry and prayed. And the more I did that, it felt like I was hitting her with bullets. She started running, and all of a sudden she was outside the yard. And at that point, she was starting to beg me not to continue praying, saying, stop. I promise I'll get rid of this orchid. I'll go to these people who gave me. I'll let go of the riches. I just don't want to lose the family. And then I said, no, stay there. Just leave. Leave Ivory Park, leave this yard. I do not want to see you anywhere near my family, anywhere near every family member that I have. I do not want anyone dying every year around September or October. And then she left. And then at that time, I started thinking, okay, Lord, she is out, but then she can come back again. Then I started thinking about protection. Then I'm like, Lord, protect us. Lord, cover this house. I started praying about protection, about covering this house. And then a thick glass this big started growing, like, you know, when something is growing from the ground and then it comes up and then it starts growing like gulum. Then I'm like, Lord, protect us, gulum, up until the house was surrounded. And I could tell that this glass was so strong enough that not even the bullet will penetrate there. And since that day, I am not scared of that. And I mean, I even went to Mozambique and I saw her at some point and I could greet her. And at this point and moment, that aunt is not rich anymore. The Holy Spirit in me was done fighting the spiritual warfare, and then my spirit started walking past the walls again into the bathroom and then into my bedroom, and then it started aligning itself to my body, and then it went inside. I started coughing. I felt like as if I was getting choked, and then I started coughing, and then my eyes started opening, and I could tell that something happened. There was a spiritual fight and I won. I was free and I started laughing and I was sweating. Like the heat in the room was just too much and my body was so tired. And from that day, I slept peacefully. I knew that God fought for me. And because of that reason, I believe God exists. These things exist, guys. These things exist, guys. So maybe you have a family member. I'm not saying anyone who's rich, they actually went to an occult. Some people work hard for their riches. But then I'm saying some of them, they actually went somewhere and got something in order to accumulate their wealth. And then while growing up as well, you would see cases where someone had shops, and the kids were all living a nice life while we were poor and struggling at school. And then that family, when that father died, everything collapsed. So those are the things we need to check and question, because some of these riches are not true riches. And at this point in moment, I can even see some symptoms, some things happening with the celebrities, where you see a celebrity, someone was broke just now, all of a sudden someone is just rich, they're starting shows, they're starting this and this, they're getting money, and all of a sudden they are sangomas and doing these sacrifices, because you have to offer a sacrifice in order to accumulate this wealth. You have to offer sacrifices in order to keep this richness. And then you can even know some of these places that we go to. I do not want to say the name, but then if you think carefully, there is a place where some of us, most of us suspect that place where we go to drink alcohol, where we go to eat food, and that place is always packed, and we don't really understand why we keep going there. It's because of these occults. These things are calling you. Some of these things, even churches, you'd hear things like maybe pastors burning a head of a pig, and this head is actually inviting people, and people will forever go there. People will drive from long distances and leave all other churches just to go there, and they offer money all the time. Guys, these things exist. You need to be careful. You need to know where you are, and if you are suspecting that something is happening at the same time and it is a pattern, it could be even a car accident, a recurring car accident. Every time you buy a car, next time it's involved in a car accident, and then you buy another one. It's not just you, like the whole family is struggling with the same thing. Guys, go back to God and ask God to cancel these covenants that these family members go in the name of the family. Because if someone in that family goes into these covenants and these things happen, maybe you are sick, like you are a family that's getting sick, or maybe you are a family that's not getting married. Question such things. There is no way that the whole family is divorced, it's sicknesses, is different things that you cannot explain. Someone must get married. I mean, I don't think God would design and God will create a family that won't get married, and yet he's saying we must multiply. Guys, question those things. Why is everyone in your family not getting married? Why is everyone in your family getting divorced? Question those things. Those things you need to cut the umbilical cord, and you can only cut the connection to whatever covenant that was entered into, or to whatever name that was used for you guys not to achieve these things. I believe not everyone is going to be rich, but some families you are given, God has blessed you with richness, but then you are not rich because of these covenant that someone went to. Maybe a specific person is rich. Guys, do question those things. So let's look at what the Bible is saying about these covenants and about ukuloya. 1 Samuel 28 verse 4. The Philistines assembled and came and encamped at Shunem, and Saul gathered all Israel, and they encamped at Gibeah. When Saul saw the army of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart trembled greatly. And when Saul inquired of the Lord did not answer him either by a dream, or by Urim, or by prophet. So you see desperation. You wait on the Lord, and the God of heaven said, wait, I will answer you. Trust me, in my own time, not at your own time. And then when you do not wait, then you'll end up being entrapped in these things. And then now Saul, he's forgetting all the things that God had done for him. He's now doing things on his own will. He's doing things in his own work. And then let's just see. Then Saul said to his servant, seek out for me a woman who is a medium, and I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a medium at Endor. So Saul disguised himself and put on other garments and went, he and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, guys, these things are done at night. When you cannot go to someone during the day and you had to go at night and disguise yourself in order to do these things, then it says it is wrong. You shouldn't do it. And this shows that when you start not waiting for the Lord, when you start becoming desperate, I'm sure maybe you're desperate for marriage, you're desperate to be rich, maybe you'll do at all costs in order for you to accumulate wealth. You'll end up going to these people and thinking that this type of wealth you can actually sustain. You cannot sustain because it is temporary. Anything from the devil, it is temporary. It will be taken away from you. You will have to put in more than what you're going to get. So do not be fooled and think this type of richness is something that you can actually keep for a long time. Guys, we are not God. And we need God in order to live this life in His environment that He created for us. And once we start wanting things that He created more than wanting Him, we will fall into this trap. Let's read what Colossians 1 verse 16 says. For by Him all things were created in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominion or rulers or authorities, all things were created through Him and for Him. We need to understand that God is sovereign. When He says you're not ready to get something, you cannot be desperate and try and find other ways to get that thing. You have to wait on the Lord. Wait on the Lord. Trust God. Whatever He has for you, it's actually good for you. Trust that. Trust what the word is saying about God. He is a faithful God. He loves us. Whatever He wants for us is something that is going to benefit us. You cannot give a child who is 5 years old and then if they cry and say, I want a car, I want a car, I want to drive. You cannot give that child because you know it's not good for him. He is not ready to even have that car. So if you go ahead and try to be God and try to manipulate the environment and try to manipulate the situation and try to control situations, you will end up in more disaster than what you were supposed to get. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you do now understand Uguloya. And remember, you do have the Holy Spirit to help you. Just ask. Just read the word. God will speak to you. He did speak to me. He can speak to you. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.